What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. As you can see, I am back in my chair. The hip is a little bit better, so I'm able to actually get up and move around now. So yeah, let's talk about this game. It was a win, home win against Southampton, but yeah, I just not the best performance overall. Well, not necessarily the performance, but the finishing was pretty poor today. And that's not been something that I can say for most of our games this season. Normally, we've been pretty good on the finishing. We've had a couple games like the what game was that? The West Ham game, the Palace game, where our finishing was just god awful and our defense wasn't great either. And we've lost a couple of games like that. And today, it kind of felt like it was going to be another one of those days. You know, we can't finish. The final pass isn't coming off. And then, Southampton get a few chances near the end. And I'm just like sitting here nervous because I've seen this story before. I've seen this happen to us before where it's just like, are we going to give up a late one and then they're going to equalize and make it 1-1? And all of a sudden, those 10 chances that we had on target are so important. Thankfully, they did not manage to get one in on us. So we did hold out for the win, but yeah, let's talk about a couple of the things that were really hurting us today. First of all, before we get into, I guess, our side of things, I do want to say I'm glad to know that if I ever do end up, getting arrested and I need somebody that's going to give me a good bail bond, I know I can call Roger East because, man, does he know how to bail people out of situations. Like Gabbiadini is about to give the ball away, and then he falls backwards. Cahill hardly even touches him, and it's a foul out of nowhere. Bakayoko sticks the foot in, pokes the ball away, completely gets the ball. Redmond goes over. It's a foul, even though Chelsea were about to go have a shot. Even the AR was getting in on the act. Fabregas, maybe his arm was offside, but even if it was, that's not a playable part of the body, and he lays it back for Hazard to brilliantly finish it. No, it's offsides. Bail out. So yeah, just a lot of bailout calls for Southampton today were really, really frustrating. We had several moments where we're piling on the pressure, and it's like 2 or 3 minutes of just pressure, and then all of a sudden the referee's just like, you know what? That's enough, guys. You got to stop bullying them, okay? I'm going to help you out, Southampton. Don't you worry. I got your back. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. It ultimately didn't hurt us that badly because we still created a ton of chances outside of that we should have finished. But that is kind of frustrating whenever you're putting constant pressure and then all of a sudden the referee just breaks up that momentum with some bailout call that's not even a foul. Then we do need to talk about the lineup a little bit. One change today, Cahill comes in for Rudiger. I don't mind that change because I think Cahill and Rudiger probably need to be switching out quite a bit. If Cahill plays one game, Rudiger should play the next one. Because I still think Rudiger is a better defender than Cahill is, but I do understand the importance of switching them out. Azpilicueta and Christensen right now are the two you need to have in there. So I think that's not a bad change. However, it was the only change. And I do think that was a bit of a problem. For one, no Fabregas. I thought that was a very strange decision. Not necessarily, Bakayoko played pretty well today, but I still feel like Fabregas provides that attacking flair that we really could have used today against the Southampton team who were doing a good job of packing it in and keeping us frustrated overall. Also, no recognized striker today. We left Morata and Batshuayi on the bench. Now, I realize Morata's coming back from, whatever he had midweek. It said it was a back injury. So, it also said it might have been fitness or fatigue. So, I don't really know what was going on with him, but no recognized striker today. Not that Hazard didn't do well in that position in midweek, but it's a situation where the team is packing it in on us, and we know they're going to. Huddersfield, at their place, they're more likely to sort of step out and come at us because it's their place. In this game, Southampton are going to pack it in, so you need somebody that you can sort of deliver the ball to, and Morata is that guy. Or even Batshuayi can do pretty well at holding it up or flicking it onto somebody, but we didn't have that today. And that was really what hurt us because we didn't have an option to send it across. And so what it turned into was a lot of trying to play around them. And then we don't have Fabregas out there, so that final ball really isn't coming off. And that's why so many of our chances turned to nothing. So yeah, it was kind of a frustrating first half for us up until, we got the goal at the end. And then even in the second half, we created a ton of chances. Like probably 5 times more than we did in the first half. But then we just couldn't finish it in the second half. So it just got pretty pretty frustrating overall. The last thing, I guess, to talk about is the subs. This is all, Conte's decisions. The subs definitely were good at first, but then the last one is what really kind of pissed me off. Because at the point where we were, it was like we were creating a ton of chances, but Southampton, they'd already brought on Austin, they brought on Buffal as well, and so now they had a little bit more of a counterattacking chance against us. So we're creating all this pressure, but there you know that there's that possibility that a ball goes out to Buffal and he's got enough speed to run at us. Austin is very clever at getting in behind, and so it's kind of like, we got to be careful defensively. And so what does he do? He takes off our most energetic player in Victor Moses and puts on Zappacosta. I don't get it. I truly do not understand that decision. First of all, Willian was looking pretty dead near the end of the game. Why not give him a sub? Second of all, Victor Moses is our most energetic player out there. The one time where we needed him a couple weeks ago against West Ham, we didn't play him, and then we ended up losing. Stupid decision there, so why take him off in this one? And then third of all, Zappacosta is not the greatest defender. Moses isn't exactly a defender either, but he's got the speed to make up for his mistakes. He gets cut, well, it doesn't matter. He's enough speed to nip in and get behind him again. Zappacosta doesn't have that speed, and he's not a good defender either. I mean, it got pretty scary. He got cut a couple times, and I'm just like, here comes a chance for Southampton. And I'm just like, why did we do that? If anything, take Willian off and either bring Zappacosta on for him, or you can bring Drinkwater in and put another midfielder in there. But no, just let's take off our most energetic player because we're stupid. So yeah, I don't know, very strange decisions from Conte today, but ultimately didn't hurt us that badly. It just made the game a lot more nervous. So let's talk about individual performances. First of all, Courtois had to make a couple saves near the end when Southampton really started piling on the pressure. The one in particular was the one where Austin first came on, got in behind our defense, which I'll say I'll give him a bit of defense because it is different whenever another striker comes on, and so it can be difficult to adjust. Because Gabbiadini was making runs, but he wasn't really making the right runs. Most of the time he was on the other side of the field trying to get around and come back in. Austin was very much more focused on staying central and then trying to find the run in behind the center defender. Gabbiadini, it felt like he was more trying to get to one of the, either Spilicueta or Cahill and trying to get a run off of them. So it is different whenever another striker comes on to sort of adjust to that. So I do understand why they sort of let him in behind, because it was, it's just one of those moments where you're just defending one way for most of the match, and then all of a sudden you have to change because the new players come on. But Austin did get in behind. Cahill did enough to get into a position to where he didn't really have that much of the goal to shoot at. And so he tried to go far post. Courtois did well to read it and parry it wide. So that was probably the most important moment of the match, because at that point it was like, are we going to be able to, make sure they don't have any dangerous chances? All of a sudden they get one. It's just kind of like crap. But then Courtois did well to make the save. It wasn't a very difficult save, but it was an important one. And I think that's where, we need Courtois to step up in moments like that and make sure we're staying in the lead. As far as the back three are concerned, all of them played pretty well. Spilicueta had to make a lot of backwards runs because they were trying to go long quite a bit. And when you got players out there like Redmond and then Buffal later, and even Bertrand coming in from that side, all of them have a lot of speed. And so knowing that Spilicueta has that speed as well and can keep up with them and make sure they're not counterattacking against us, it's always comfortable to know that he's there. Christensen once again looked a good leader in the middle, very good at dropping deep, giving help, keeping possession very well, and then had to be called upon a couple times to make some runs back whenever Austin came in and was really testing us going long. Christensen had to do well to keep up with him and make sure he didn't have a ton of space, so that was good to see. And then Cahill on the other side, probably one of the better games he's had this season. I didn't really have a whole lot of complaints with him. I will say though, his speed is still a concern in games like this where we know the other team has a ton of speed. I always do get a little worried whenever they're coming at us on that side, because it always feels like all it takes is one touch past him and he's either going to foul them or they're past him and then in behind. And Alonso doesn't have the speed to do it either. And on that, I still feel like the Alonso-Cahill side is just not a good pairing. because neither of them have the speed, first of all. And second of all, it feels like they're not really connected. One of the best examples I can think of is whenever the ball goes out wide to a wing back or a wing for the other team, Alonso will step over to pressure. If one of the midfielders is making a darting run in behind, like an underlapping run, Cahill's never there. It's always the job of Pedro or Willian or whoever has made the run, Bakayoko if he's tracked that run. I never see Cahill giving him support. I always see Cahill dropping in for the cross. And all I'm thinking is, you're leaving all that space right behind him wide open. Why are you not supporting him? So I just never feel like Cahill and Alonso are connected, and that's not good, especially because Cahill's our captain. He should be the leader back there. He's not. He's not really leading, he's not really organizing, and then he's not helping Alonso on the support. That's scary defensively. It leaves a ton of space open for them to play around in. So, yeah, it happened only like twice today, but it's still one of those things that I've seen way too many times, and I'm wondering why nobody's caught this yet, because it's a dangerous position to put yourself in. The only thing I can think of is that they think, oh, well, we've always got somebody tracking that run, so Cahill doesn't have to worry about that. But I don't know. I still feel like you shouldn't leave that much space open in behind your player, but whatever. On Alonso and Moses, Alonso obviously very good with the free kick to score the goal. Good technique, caught Forster off guard as well. So as far as his play overall, though, still not really that impressed with him. Just first half was mainly where I was really frustrated with him. I'm just like, why is he out here? Why do we not have a better option than him? He's giving the ball away. Defensively, he's not doing very well. Second half, he stepped it up a bit. But yeah, I even texted my dad like 3 minutes before he scored, and I'm just like, I'm saying that Roger East is bailing them out, and I said also, why isn't Fabregas out there? And then right after I sent that message, Alonso tried to like do a flick and flicked it out of bounds, and I'm just like, also, why do we not have a better center or left wing back? And then 3 minutes later, he scores the goal, and I called him at halftime. He's just like, what was that about needing a new wing back? I'm like, shut up. But yeah, I mean, I have my issues with Alonso because overall, his play, I feel like there are better options out there. I feel like there are players that can do more than what he does on the whole. Yes, he pops up with some brilliant moments now and then. He had even a few decent chances later on in the game, but you look at his first half and it just felt like giving the ball away quite a few times. It felt like defensively, he's getting like pulled upfield and then not tracking back. I don't know. Sometimes he feels kind of out of place on the left side. It feels like you're just sort of out there, not really providing much for us. And even when you're on the ball, you're still not providing much for us. But like I said, he did step it up in the second half. The passes became a lot more consistent. The positioning, the defensive work was a lot better. So on the whole of it, I'll say he had a slightly above average game, but I'm still not thoroughly impressed with him. Into the middle, actually no, Moses first of all. Can't forget to talk about Moses. Like I said, most energetic player on the field. And that's saying something. You've got Conte out there and you're more energetic than Conte. That's pretty impressive. I thought Moses played very well today. Just defensively is where he needs to be a little bit more disciplined, but he does enough for us. And I think that's what's very important, is that he works so hard that even though he does make some defensive mistakes, he manages to make up for that with his speed and his quickness. So very good to see from him today. Into the middle, Bakayoko and Conte both played pretty well today. Bakayoko definitely stepped it up, and as a player under pressure, you always want to see a player like that really start to see what he can do under that type of pressure. The fans are not very happy with him. He's not had some good performances recently. So what are you going to do about it? Well, in this game, he stepped up. Defensively, he looked solid. Near the end of the game, he started to look a little bit tired, started diving in a couple times. But for most of the game, he was defensively solid. He's doing a very good job of using his strength, putting himself in positions to block off runs and intercept the ball. Passing-wise, he did pretty well today. Some clever little flicks here and there, and then used his strength very well. One of the best moments I can think from him is in the second half. Used his strength very well, held off a couple challenges on him, and then flicked it inside to Morata. And it's just, I'm looking at him just like, that's what I want to see more of. That's what I saw from him when he first started playing. I saw that strength, that desire to run forward and just hold off the challenges and then play the ball inside. That's what he lost the past few games. He lost that confidence to do that, and he started losing the ball, and it just felt like he wasn't really playing up to what his potential is. Now it feels like he sort of returned to that. So it's good to see from him today. And Conte, as far as he's concerned, not one of his better performances. He didn't play poorly today. It just a few mistakes in the first half that were putting us under pressure. Eventually, though, the passes did start coming off for him. But yeah, there was that one counterattack specifically where Willian did well to break out of the challenge. It was so brilliant to see. And then he lays it off to Pedro. Pedro jukes the guy and then just gone. You see Hazard making a run out wide. Pedro lays it off to Conte, and you're thinking, just get it. Alonso's over there, Hazard's over there, get it over there. And then Conte just completely mishits it. And all of a sudden the counterattack is gone, and Southampton are back. He had a couple moments like that in the first half. And so, I don't know, it just felt a little bit off from him. It felt like he wasn't really fully there at the beginning of the game. But by the end of the game, it was back to what I've come to expect from him. So, then the front three, of the three, I'll say Hazard was the one that didn't make as many mistakes, but also he was the one that didn't really do as much overall. So it's really kind of an interesting dynamic because Pedro and Willian made quite a few mistakes today, and mainly their mistakes were just holding onto the ball way too long. And I realize they're kind of dribblers. Willian's a dribbler who likes to take it out wide, cut in. Pedro's a dribbler who just likes to take people on and try to beat them. But there were several times where it felt like just play the ball, just play the ball, just play the ball, just play the ball, just play the ball. And then either they lose it or it has to come back. But then again, they also provided a lot of really good chances off of those runs. So it's really hard to complain about it too much. Whereas Hazard, I didn't really see a whole lot from him today. He had his moments. He still had his Hazard moments, brilliant flicks, little turn and goes and then find somebody with a pass. But overall, it wasn't as effective or he wasn't as involved as Pedro and Willian were. But then again, I didn't really see him giving the ball away as much as Pedro and Willian were. So it kind of plays hand in hand. He wasn't as involved, but he also didn't give the ball away. They were more involved, but they were also giving the ball away. So, it's one of those things where all three of them had pretty good games overall, but just for different reasons. But I will say, of the three, the one that I thought had probably the best game had to be Willian, just because even though, yes, he did dribble a few too many times and sometimes gave the ball away too easily, his work rate and his desire to really get on the ball and try to create something today was really, really good. Pedro had his moments, and then, Hazard obviously always, anytime he's on the field, he always has a chance to do something. So, yeah, it was good overall from all of them. And then as far as the subs are concerned, Fabregas came on, instantly changed the game. I mean, just as soon as he comes on, it was like chance, should have been a goal, but wrongly called offsides. I mean, he just creates so much. I wonder why he did not start. I feel like, would it still have been 1-0? Maybe, but I feel like we would have had a lot more chances and looked a lot more dangerous in the first half instead of, we're creating chances but not really looking dangerous and then get a late goal. I think it would have been more like we're creating chances, looking dangerous, and then probably get one out of like 10 chances or something like that. But Murata came on after that. Looked pretty good. Still a little too easy to go over for me. Just, I want to see him less likely to go over under a challenge. I realize that Real Madrid in La Liga, players are more likely to go over. They get calls more easily over there. So I just want him to adapt to that style of play in the Premier League. The fact that challenges are going to come in, sometimes you just have to ride the challenges and stay up and use your strength because sometimes the referees just aren't going to call it. And then the last one was Epicasa, and he didn't necessarily play poorly. I just thought it was a poor decision to put him in. So, he did okay defensively, just got caught out a few times, and it got pretty scary because he didn't have the speed and the quickness that Moses has to keep up with players like Redmond and Buffal. So, yeah, I just thought it was a strange decision for him to be out there. But, yeah, so that's about it from all the players. And, yes, it was a good performance overall. It was a good result, too. It's just, I feel like it could have been better, but there were just some weird decisions today from Conte that really kept the game way too close, in my opinion. But that's it for me, so let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys at Bournemouth midweek. Peace out.